Hey, man, you sure you want to hear this, man? You sure about that, man? All right.
Hit me!
In the 80s, drum machines started to dominate the dance floor. Analog drums made the way for drum machines. But the machines needed to be fed with sounds. One of the beats most sampled was the Funky Drummer of James Brown. The drummer's name? Clyde Stubblefield. In the 80s, this drum beat was funky food for hungry sample machines.
1, 2, 3, 4, get it!
God. Yes, the rhythm's a rebel. Without applause, I'm lowering my level. Just cause I'm from the CPT, pump police are afraid of me, huh?
It's a demo. It's a demo.
Some people call me shiny, some people call me Rada, and those who try to diss, I just knocks them out the bottom.
According to the website Who Sampled Who, Funky Drummer was sampled more than 1,700 times, and especially in hip-hop.
Playback!
The group that used the song the most was Public Enemy, and the producer's name, Hank Shocklee. Public Enemy was heavily influenced by James Brown, not only in his music, also in a political way. And his super bad attitude, of course, but we'll get back to that later. Let's talk about Public Enemy's music. Everybody knows Chuck D, but producer Hank Shocklee is an equal legend. He was a true musical pioneer, experimenting with new sounds and techniques. As music moved from analog into digital, a whole new world opened up. You have to realize that music, until the mid-80s, was made by musicians. In the early years of hip-hop, the sound was developed by DJs, cutting and scratching using breaks and drum machines. Recording hip-hop in a studio was something totally new, and new skills had to be invented. And believe it or not, the first Public Enemy album, Yo Bum Rush the Show, was made without a sampler, just drum machines, vocals and DJ cuts. But in the song Public Enemy No. 1, you clearly hear an endless loop using an old James Brown song, Blow Your Head by Fred Wesley and the JBs. But how did Hank Shocklee do this without a sampler? Together with producer Steve Ed, Hank Shocklee used the pause tape technique. They recorded the James Brown song over and over again on a 2-inch tape and glued it together to create one giant loop. The loop was 1 minute and 30 seconds long. The tape had to be a few meters long, and it had to run through the studio between music stands, keeping the tape tight. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the click in the loop. For Public Enemy's second album, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, one of the first samplers were used, the 4-bit and Sonic Mirage. Back in the 80s, this sampler was a state-of-the-art machine, with 3 seconds sample time.
1, 2, 3.
But Hank Shocklee needed more to create his sound he envisioned. The limitations of the machine made him creative. He recorded fragments of the song he wanted to use at a very high speed, then slowed it down in the Mirage to the normal speed. That way he could use 3 seconds more efficient. Back to Public Enemy's sound, and to Chuck D. James Brown had a huge influence on Chuck D growing up as a kid. In 1968, the civil rights movement was devastated after the death of Martin Luther King. Then James Brown released Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud.
Put your bad self. Say it loud.
James Brown single-handedly took a lost and confused nation of people and bonded them together with the song.
Mr. Brown is #1 soul brother in the United States.
He's black and he's proud.
He brings out the good in me. He's like the preacher.
Say it loud.
Chuck D states, I was convinced I was black instead of a Negro. Heavily influenced by James Brown's music and his attitude, Public Enemy was born. They would create a form of hip-hop that was radical both politically and sonically. Chuck D with his gospel preaching style of rapping and strong message, but Hank Shocklee's heavy production added another dimension to Chuck D's black history lessons. So not only the drums of James Brown moved the dance floors in the 70s, 80s and 90s, also his political message was heard in so many songs and especially in hip-hop. So once again,